What is going on, guys? Matt O'Leary here to recap a sloppy and pretty ugly New York Jets versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers third preseason game. I know sometimes in the preseason these games could be a little bit ugly, but this one was a little particularly sloppy. We're going to go through and then talk about my biggest takeaways. So first possession, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers moved the ball a little bit. They started the ball like inside the 10 after a penalty, but then they were able to move it to like maybe the 40, something like that. So they gained about 30 yards. But the key note was Quentin Jefferson blowing up a run play. And then Tanzel Smart blows up a run play. Trask picked up a couple of third downs, throwing to the tight end, but the Jets would finally force a punt. But the big storyline from that possession was just how dominant the Jets were. That second tier group of, well, not even that Tanzel Smart, but really Quentin Jefferson, who's going to be a heavy part of that rotation, was really nice in the run game, making a play there. For the New York Jets, this was their starting offensive line. Mitchell, Tippmann, McGovern, Schweitzer, and Turner was the starting offensive line. On the first possession, wasn't really all that great. Zach Wilson missed Allen Lazard behind him on second down, and then the Jets were forced to punt. Next possession for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, great Ashton Davis tackle. And then Bryce Huff essentially caused a strip sack. Just absolutely dominant what he could do on third down. Him able to get after the quarterback like that with the speed and the get off is just unreal. Love that he is a part of this team, is going to be very important on third and long situations. You just let him pin his ears back and go. Get after the quarterback, and that's exactly what he did. So the Bucs would punt, and you would get a really nice Xavier Gipson return. Xavier Gipson ran the punt back for 31 yards, and that's key because he was fighting for that wide receiver 6 role. It's between him, Malik Taylor, Jason Brownlee. Those are the three guys fighting for that one spot, and that one spot might not even be there necessarily because due to the way that the Jets are going to carry this roster, it's not a guarantee that they will hold 6 receivers. I think they probably will, but if they're trying to find a spot where they could go a little bit on the smaller side, 5 wide receivers, if they want to keep Kuntz on the roster, if they want to keep the fullback, you're going to have to make some tough decisions, and that's maybe only carrying 5 receivers. But anyway, Xavier Gipson, good special teams day for him. The Jets would, on this possession, you would have a really nice throw from Zach Wilson on third down to Allen Lazard. Heavy Bam Knight usage early on. In this game, Michael Carter did not dress, which that is telling to the competition on who is going to remain on this roster now that you signed Dalvin Cook. The Jets would settle for 3 and go up 3-0. Next possession, Adrian Amos coming down, flying around, making a play at the line of scrimmage. Really nice. I thought the safeties came up and made plays in the run game or in the screen game very well. They were flying around the field. The Jets would force a punt, and then on the next possession is where you would see Bam Knight fumble on the first play. Not good. Really, really bad Bam Knight game. He would end up actually having a drop later on in the first half. So a fumble and a drop, just it feels like he's going to be the odd man out. They brought in Dalvin Cook. You knew one of these guys was going to have to go, and it looks like it's going to be Bam Knight. I would imagine he did not have a very good day at all. The Bucs offense was gifted really good field position, obviously, after the turnover, and they would settle for 3 to tie this game up 3-3. You had a big play from my guy Jason Brownlee, big catch and run. And then you had the unreal Zach Wilson run for 35 yards. How about that? Looking like BYU Zach Wilson a little bit with the spin out, roll, and run. That was really fun, but unfortunately the drive would stall, which was kind of the theme on offense. They would have a couple of nice plays, and then it would kind of stall out. So they would settle for 3 and go up 6-3 over the Tampa Bay Bucs at this point. Next possession for the Bucs, they go for it on fourth down and give up a huge play, big play. And then really interesting, you had like a tip drill play down to the goal line, and the ball just happened to bounce right to Trey Palmer. So they would get in the end zone right there to make it 10-6. Jets would have one more drive before the half. That's where the Bam drop would come in. It was a bad snap from Joe Tippmann. At that point, he took over at center. He started at guard, was fine, I thought, moved over to center. Some of his snaps in the shotgun were a little erratic, so that might be something to note. You get a hold from Max Mitchell, and that pretty much killed the drive, so the Jets would punt it away, and they would go into halftime trailing 10-6, and Zach Wilson's day was done. He went 9 of 13 for 70 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, an 82.2 rating, and it would add 41 yards on the ground. I thought he was okay. Not as good as what he was last week. I thought the best game he's played so far was against the Panthers. There was the throw behind Allen Lazard that wasn't great. I think he has to be a little bit more accurate with the ball, but the run was fun. That was a nice play. There was a nice throw on third down. So there were some things that he did well, but I thought he wasn't really consistent enough, which is kind of expected from someone who's going to be QB2. But I thought he was fine. He was okay. Was he great? Was he even good? I wouldn't even say he was good. I thought he was fine. And he certainly wasn't bad, in my opinion. I thought he was fine. So 10-6 at halftime. Coming into the second half of this game, the Jets start with the ball, and you would get an ugly Boyle interception. Good God, watching him play quarterback is not too fun. I don't think he sticks around. Maybe they do carry 3 quarterbacks. I would advise against it, but they really like Tim Boyle, even though he hasn't really looked that good in the preseason so far. But who has looked good is Mekhi Becton, was throwing people around in both the run game and in pass pro. To me, like, we are unserious if Mekhi Becton is not taking first-team reps this week. If you cannot see the difference between him or Billy Turner / Max Mitchell and say, like, looking at those 3 guys, there is no way you can say that that Mekhi Becton is not further along than those 2 guys. Even with them bringing him on slowly, I get it, but he ended up playing 25 snaps today, which is, pretty much right what he was at last week as well. I don't know what else he has to do. I don't know what else he has to do. He is, if you are staying true to the best 5 play, he has to be out there and play. Like, let's just call it what it is. So Mekhi Becton looks good. After the Boyle interception, you would get the Bucs driving down the field a little bit. The Jets' third-team secondary, not good. In the second half of this game, there wasn't really, a ton of guys on the defensive side of the ball who are going to be regulars out there. So anyway. The Jets were moving the ball a little bit. They were able to get into the red zone and then stalled out. That was, again, the theme of today. Zerloin would miss the field goal, though. That was a little bit on the surprising side. So the score remains 10-6. John Wolford had to get carted off. That was something that was scary. You don't like to see that. He went down. It looked like it was a neck thing. So obviously wishing him the best. He went off and gave the thumbs up going off, so that's a good sign, but that's scary. Next Jets possession, another scary thing for the New York Jets, or the next thing a note, I guess, for the New York Jets here. Izzy Abanikanda, the Jets rookie who has shown a lot of promise through his first 2 games, he got hurt. It looked like he was pointing to his knee initially, and naturally, my mind went to the worst thing, but it wasn't a non-contact. It looked like a knee-on-knee, but the Jets ended up ruling it a thigh injury. So what I think happened is that he got pretty much a knee to the thigh and kind of like a dead leg, hopefully. But he didn't need the cart, and it being a thigh is definitely, like I said, that's a win. You sign up for that. You don't want to see anyone hurt, but you'd much rather a thigh than a knee injury. What else you got? The Bucs muff a punt. But then it was overturned that he was down. It looked like the Jets did a little scoop and score, but it was overturned. Trask hit a really nice big throw to get them. They were backed up into like the 10, then he moved them out to the 50. They would settle for a field goal, make it 13-6. And to close out the game, Travis Dye would fumble on the last, like you thought you'd maybe have a final Tim Boyle drive. Can you get them down the field? No. First play check down. Travis Dye fumbles. Jets lose 13-6. Sloppy game, but biggest takeaways. Number 1, Mekhi Becton looked really good. Happy with that. He, again, has to get first-team reps. It's a disservice if he is not getting first-team reps. Number 2, Bam Knight feels like the odd man out in that running back room, assuming Izzy Abanikanda will be good to go. And last but certainly not least, the Izzy injury did not seem as bad as what I think we initially thought. So there we go. Those are my biggest takeaways. You let me know your big takeaways from this game. Sound off in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Matt. I'll catch you next time.